You've been connected to the DedSecCast. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to episode 12 of the DedSecCast. My name is Brad, aka UbiCentral, and joining me, as always, is Aftermath.
What's up, Brad? How's it going?
It's going good. Don't ever talk like that again. But yeah, for this episode, we have an awesome guest on, Keith, also known as Epic Stream Man. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, how's everyone doing? Thank you for having me on. I've been looking forward to this for a while because I love me some DedSecCast.
Well, thank you for the kind words. Now, before we move on to some juicy Watch Dogs stuff, for those of you who aren't familiar with your work, can you just give us a quick description of who you are and what you do?
Who I are? I am Keith Epic Stream Man. Basically a Twitch streamer, YouTuber, and mod for the Watch Dogs Reddit forums, and also administrator of the Watch Dogs Discord server. That's what I do.
Awesome. And I will have links to all your stuff in the description down below. So if you're interested in checking out Keith, which I highly recommend doing, you can find all of that in the description down below, as well as timestamps. So if you want to skip around the show, you can do just that.
So, the first piece of news we have this week, which we'll talk about really quick, because there's not a ton to talk about related to it, but there was the PlayStation meeting earlier this week, and we did see a glimpse of Watch Dogs 2 running in 4K resolution. Brett claims it's upscaled, I believe is the word used, not native, and we saw it running on the PlayStation 4 Pro. So if you're getting a PlayStation 4 Pro, whenever that's coming out, and you're getting Watch Dogs 2 as well, you'll be able to play the game in 4K, and it looks very sexy.
Yes. In addition to that gameplay, Ubisoft released a 20-minute gameplay walkthrough of Watch Dogs 2 about a week or two ago, which I didn't see coming at all, and honestly, I thought it was fantastic, which actually leads me to this question. Epic and Aftermath, what was your favorite moment of the gameplay footage? You have 20 minutes of gameplay to choose from, which might make this a really easy question or a really hard one.
I think it makes it a hard one. I too was also surprised by it. But yeah, I thought it was awesome. I mean, I wish we'd get to see more beta footage than alpha footage, but hopefully we'll soon. But I'd have to say some of my favorite parts about it were the showing off the scissor lifts. When we were when we got to play some of it in Montreal, that was one of my favorite things, was just being able to control one of those and get up on top of a really cool building somewhere and then just remote control it away. And yeah, I'd love to see more of that and what we can hack in the world and what we can do.
I liked the driving, and I liked the map looks cool too, and I liked being able to see different parts of San Francisco. Like we saw, I think it was Oakland very briefly, as well as regular old central San Francisco. I don't think we've seen that in many other the gameplay things.
As you can tell, Aftermath did not watch the gameplay
I watched
walkthrough.
30 seconds of it. I scrubbed through it, okay? I clicked to the end, and then I heard something about Oakland and the Bay Bridge.
All right.
That would be cool.
Okay, for me, I would say the co-op mission at the end, because
See, that's what I was talking about. I like the co-op mission.
Because we've actually never seen footage of it before. But with that said, it was highly scripted, of course, and if you did play with a random in Watch Dogs 2, the odds of completing a co-op mission and complete stealth is basically zero, because they're randoms and they're just going to go out guns blazing. But still, I was just happy to see some footage of that. And in the gameplay section, we actually saw Marcus call criminals on an enemy, which is honestly so much fun to do. I'm telling people, this new hack is so addicting. It's just so satisfying calling the cops or criminals on an NPC. Like, that's one of the first things I'm going to do in Watch Dogs 2 if that hack is available at the start.
What is one thing that you wish they showed off more in this gameplay? Epic, what do you think?
Honestly, the being able to shoot while in a vehicle. I really wish. I don't even think they showed maybe like a couple frames of it happening as like some of the side stuff they were showing. So I wish they would have showed that off more. I know a lot of games have done it before, but to be able to do it in Watch Dogs now was actually pretty cool when we got to play it a bit. It took a bit of getting used to control-wise, I remember, but I found it super satisfying, especially in bounty mode, to be able to just drive down, hack other vehicles, and shoot out your car and take the enemy out, especially on the motorcycles, man. Just being able to shoot off of a motorcycle just looks cool. Plus, it just feels cool, man. So, yeah, I really wish they showed more of that.
I didn't realize that we could do that now. That's epic. I'm really excited to do that. I thought that was one part of Watch Dogs that was lacking, and that you couldn't actually shoot and drive at the same time, and you had to get people that were sitting in a car to shoot for you, which I guess is limited now because of multiplayer. But that's cool.
I didn't even think I'd care for it because I'm not a big shooter fan. I more like to do things stealthily. But for bounty, and there's no point in being stealth in a lot of reasons, except if they're holed up somewhere. So if you're just chasing them down somewhere, it's just a great option, and it felt great in Watch Dogs.
For me personally, I wish that they showed more driving. And don't get me wrong, I'm super glad that they showed us some new footage of it, but I really wish that they showed people different cars and how they handle, because honestly, from what we played, the driving felt so realistic for each different vehicle, but in all these gameplay videos, it's just pretty short clips of sports cars. You know, they don't show motorcycles or ATVs. Well, okay, they did show an ATV for like a couple seconds, but mainly it's just been sports cars, so I really wish they just showed us some more vehicle variety, but with that said, I'm still happy we got some footage of the driving, so yeah. Now, Epic. When we have a new guest on the show, we always like to ask said person, what would you rate the first Watch Dogs out of 10? Now, obviously, you played the game a bunch, like, I don't even know how many hours you've played or want to guess, but again, what would you score the game out of 10?
I'll have to say it's definitely fanboyish and subjective because, I obviously love the game. So for me, it's a 10 out of 10. To give it a realistic score for most people, I'd have to say it's still at least an 8 out of 10. If people really gave the game a chance, which I don't think a lot of people did, who were just down on like all the negative talk about it. They just didn't even give it a chance, and it's a great game. Obviously, I'm still playing it over 2 years later, and super hyped for the sequel. And so, yeah, I just really wish people would give it a chance. And I think maybe having this game come out and showing it off the way it is, people are actually doing that now. They're like, oh, maybe I should play Watch Dogs 1. So 10 out of 10 for me, 8 out of 10 for most people who would actually give it a chance.
All right, and since you gave it, for you personally, a perfect score, I want to know what was one thing that bothered you most about the game, whether that be, driving, Aiden, the villains, or anything really. Just one thing that you wish that was improved on for the sequel, or just one thing that kind of bothered you.
That's also subjective, but to be honest, it's Watch Dogs is such a funny game because you could play the whole game through and not knowing about any of the glitches and stuff. You may never encounter one, and you'll be like, oh, this is a nice, cool, complete game. But if you just know a little bit about how the game works and how the physics work and how that can be broken, it just totally flips the whole game around. It's so weird. Like, I can watch people play this live or YouTube footage, and they'll have no idea that there's a glitch right there or something like that. And then once you see how unfinished the game really is. It's funny that they had the time to finish the game to a point where it looks perfectly complete on 6 different systems when it came out. But then once you know a little bit more, it's not complete. So that would be my complaint is I wish they had more time to actually do everything they wanted to do and complete on the first game. Would be my biggest complaint about it.
They had 5 years, Keith. 5 years.
That's still, I mean, like I said, they bit off a lot more than they could chew with Watch Dogs 1. Just for the fact when they first showed the footage for it in the 2012 E3, how it looked so amazing and people complained about downgrades afterwards is because they didn't even have the final specs for the console systems when they dropped that. So, and it was a new IP, so of course they made it look as great as they could make it look for people because they wanted to get people interested in it. So it's unfortunate the way that all worked out. It really didn't affect me at all because I didn't get into Watch Dogs till when it came out, so I didn't see all that till afterwards. So I didn't have any expectations about it, and because of that, I think I really got into it and enjoyed it. That's why I wish people just give it a fair chance.
Yeah, and with the sequel coming out, I do think more people, like you said, will start playing the first game if they never did. And I really did like your response about the glitches because I was expecting something totally different. But it is true, there is all those like grenade launcher glitches that you see to get on top of buildings and all of this stuff that if you're just a casual player, you don't really see. But in online hacking, people can glitch into a spot and you don't even know where they're at, and that could just ruin the experience. So yeah, I did like that answer. One thing I forgot to mention at the start of the podcast, and you kind of briefly said it, you got to play Watch Dogs 2 twice, once at E3 and another at a Ubisoft Montreal event, the one I attended. So I'm sure a lot of people are super jealous of you for that. But yeah, what were your just overall impressions of the game, because you've had some time with it?
I mean, I really love it. I'll admit, at first it was such a drastic change from the first game that I personally was worried I wouldn't like it, because the tone is totally different, the location is totally different, the characters are totally different, and the vibe of the first game is not the vibe of the second game at all. But when I actually got my hands on it and I actually got to play that, all that washed away because it's just a fun, cool game. And it's kind of refreshing to have that whole new world and the not depressing Chicago and the brooding Aiden character. It's a nice change of pace. Yeah, I kind of will miss Watch Dogs 1 and what that brought to the table, but some of the best parts they're bringing through to this game, and even more so with all the different hacking options and all that. So I would say my first impressions of the game made me feel at ease because I was afraid that I wouldn't like it, and I love it.
Yeah, I remember talking to you at the event after we played it for a while and just talking about Marcus and how you didn't expect it at when we played a certain section of the game. You were just kind of blown away by his character.
We finally got to know a little bit more about him and how he is, how he talks, how he interacts with other people. So I was kind of afraid I wouldn't even like the character, and after being able to play that, I do. I really fell in love with the character, and I want to know more. So that's a good sign, for sure.
And just like the Watch Dogs review question, what was one complaint you had with the game, or something you want fixed if there's any complaints?
I don't know if I could say NDA-wise, but there are some things they could fix, and I know with the alpha work-in-progress build we were playing, they were definitely still doing balancing and things like that. So as long as they get some of the stuff fixed that we told them about, I'm cool. I think it, there was nothing game-breaking or anything like that. It was just minor complaints that could be better, and I still think it has all the potential in the world to be a great game, and even just what we played of it alpha-wise, I could have fun playing. I wish I was still playing it, let's just say that.
And another piece of news we got this week, the final piece of news, in fact, was that a new villain for the game was revealed on Twitter by the name of Lenni, and she's the leader of Prime 8, one of the other rival hacking groups for DedSec. I just realized that it's Prime 8, how primates are primates?
After Matt just stop talking.
The picture is on Twitter, and Brett did a video about it, and there you go.
Aftermath, I have to say real quick, I love how I can hear you unmute your mic.
Yeah.
Epic, what are your thoughts on the picture?
I just thought it was really cool that they're actually talking about this now. We got to know a little bit more about the groups and things like that when we were in Montreal, and I really hope more of it comes out and we can talk more about it, because I don't think people, with all the other cool stuff that's going on that you got to see in Watch Dogs, bounty mode, online hacking, seamless multiplayer, it's been kind of washed over, I think, for people. Like, what are we actually going to be fighting against? Who are we going to be fighting against? And now that they're actually showing that, now we'll be able to get to talk about it more. So there's still more to learn about this game, and I think it's awesome.
As far as the character's image goes, I can't really say like how this character will play, because we don't know really anything about her. This kind of happened with Marcus when we saw him for the first time. You can't really just judge a character off an image without knowing anything, really. She can honestly be one of the best villains in any video game, or the worst. We really don't know. I will say this, though. I am a little nervous by the amount of villains in the game, and by villains, you know, there's corporations like Bloom, Noodle, Invite, Titus, and now there's Prime 8. And yes, that's true. And like, that's all the ones we know of just so far. And the first Watch Dogs had the same kind of issue in regards to there's a lot of different villains. So I just hope that they flush out each character or each company, because you know, we really, if you're going to introduce all of these things, we should really learn more about them. Aftermath, what about you?
Oh, what are you asking me?
Oh my god. Worst co-host ever. What are your thoughts on the image?
Oh, I think it's interesting. I'm pretty interested. I didn't really realize that there were going to be other hacking groups. So it's going to be, I suppose, more of a complex story than the first Watch Dogs, which was very Aiden versus Bloom, plus DedSec on the side. This one is going to be, and as you mentioned, there are already so many villains with all the different corporations, and now we have different hacking groups too. I think that it could either be much better than the first Watch Dogs, or they could make it too complex and it's going to be hard to follow. I think it's going to depend how Ubisoft focuses on it. Whether Bloom's like an ambient villain, and Primate's like actually we're fighting against them, or if it's the other way around. I think it'll be interesting to see how they handle this, because there's a lot of characters in there. More characters revealed already than were in the entire of the first Watch Dogs. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle it. It could be either really good or I think really bad. But I think it's gonna be good. I feel confident in Ubisoft will be able to handle this.
That actually kind of happened with DedSec in the first game. There was just so many different things going on that DedSec was just kind of there, and now we get a sequel to that. So I just hope that they're not setting up, you know, a third game for one of these.
You know they are. I mean, you got to, right?
Yes, but I hope at the same time they give us more story about them if they do, because DedSec, like I said, was just kind of there until like the end of the game. So yeah, I just hope they flush them out.
Yeah, the DLC did open them up a little more with the Council of Daves and things like that for the first game. But yeah, I definitely can understand the concern about all these different groups. Reddit pointed out some cool things about the picture, though, that I didn't notice at first. If you look on her, what would be her left arm, it would be on our right. You can see there's a device underneath her skin, right by the sleeve. Ooh. And people have blown up that image. It looks almost like a cell phone underneath her skin, but it's probably some sort of electronic storage drive, or maybe even like a Pico computer or a tiny computer. This is called the biohacking that people do, and I think it's kind of cool that they're including these characters. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays into the story.
I wonder if we can kill her by blowing that up, like Lucky Quinn and his heart thing.
Yeah, I wish we could have made Lucky Quinn's heart explode out of his chest or something.
That would have been awesome. All right, well, that brings us to the end of episode 12. Real quick, I want to say we are on SoundCloud now. I think maybe.
Sweet.
No, we should be. Yeah, it's if I remember. No, we should be. Okay. Keith, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. Do you have any final thoughts or anything you would like to say?
No, I just thank you for having me on, guys. Maybe we could do this again sometime. I really love talking about the game, obviously. And the last thing I really wanted to say is, if you're into Watch Dogs, which if you're listening to this, you are, hopefully, or you're just into Brett's awesome voice, some people are.
I don't have a good voice.
Or Aftermath, his sexy retorts.
Yeah, Aftermath.
But yeah, if you're into Watch Dogs, then please check out the Reddit, Watch Dogs, or Watch_Dogs on Reddit. And we also have a really cool Discord channel now, which we're actually just updating some really awesome things. We're adding some new games you can play in chat. There's actually a hacking game where you can hack the whole chat room, and then they have to profile different people in the chat room and try to figure out who's hacking them before, it reaches 100%.
I didn't even know about this. And I'm in the chat.
Oh, we just released this. And we're working on other games. There's an ATM hack. And all this earns you followers or botnet points, basically. So we're trying to go along with the themes of Watch Dogs 1 and 2 mixed together. And, introduce these cool games. I have ideas for a whole bunch of other games, too, like a bounty game and all other kinds of stuff. And we're open to suggestions, so come on by, check it out. If you had some cool ideas, let us know, and we'll try to implement it. So, Reddit and Discord for Watch Dogs. Come check them out.
I'll put links to all that in the description as well. Honestly, the Discord chat's awesome because there's just so many, Watch Dogs fans all together in one place. There's even Ubisoft employees that are around lurking. So yeah. Aftermath, anything for you?
Anything for me for what, Brett? What are you trying to say here?
Oh my god, anything you have to say.
Wake up, man!
Final thoughts.
I'm sorry, I've been working all week. I'm very excited for Watch Dogs 2. I'm very interested in to see how Ubisoft will do with it. I think that it is very promising. I can attest to the awesomeness of the Watch_Dogs subreddit. I've been there quite a lot, especially after the release of the last game. And that's about it.
Aftermath, have you been eating this entire time?
No, I ate before. That's why I was running late.
All right, I don't believe you.
Okay.
Let me know in the comments down below if I should kick Aftermath off the show.
No.
If you think
I would not
just don't
listen
say anything
anymore
at all.
then.
All right.
Every
we'll
show
leave it
has
up
to
to
have
the
a cool
comments.
co-host.
No.
Everyone, just say kick him off. I don't like him anymore.
Damn,
thank
this is
you all so much for watching. Again, everything will be in the description down below. Thank you for all the amount of views on these recent episodes. I think the last 3 or 4 have reached 10,000 views on a podcast where we just talk about Watch Dogs, so it's pretty insane. I have a shit voice. Aftermath is a shit co-host.
This is just the worst podcast. Why is anyone listening to this?
Yeah, this is especially this episode. Sorry, Keith. Like we're usually more professional, but I don't know what it is today.
I'd hate to be on a show that was just professional all the time, to be honest. This is all about video games, which are supposed to be fun, and you guys make it fun, so thank you.
All right,
we'll
I think
we'll make
Aftermath
professional later.
Aftermath, stop talking.
All right.
All right, that is the end of the episode. Thank you again so much for watching, and we'll see you all later.